Hi everyone, and welcome to our Children and Youth Gathering video for February 28th, 2021. My name is Ann Ellis, and I'm the Children, Youth, and Family Minister at Mount Seymour United Church in North Vancouver. And today, we're making a blanket fort. Isn't it great? I've used a table, and I've got some blankets, and I've got some pillows, and we're going to play in a blanket fort today. So, here we go. I'm gonna have to crouch down to make this work. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, so for today's video, what you're gonna need is a blanket. If you want to pause this video and make a blanket fort so you can sit in your own while you watch this video, go right ahead. But if you don't, you can just grab yourself a blanket, your favorite blanket if you have one, but just a regular blanket is good too. You're also gonna grab the game template from this week's email, also in the link below. It looks like this. You'll want to get some plain pieces of paper and some markers so that we can play a game in a little bit. Okay? So why don't you pause the video, go grab your blanket, and I'm going to try to make this a little more comfortable because my neck is going to get very sore if I sit like this the whole time we're together. So pause this video and we'll be right back. Well, I'm just going to be a little bit slouchy in the blanket fort today. And we're just going to hang out for a little while. So, welcome. Please know that the welcome we extend in this place is as broad and as deep as we can make it. And you are welcome here if this is your first time tuning into a video, or if you have been watching these videos since we started filming them last year. And you are welcome here no matter how old or how young you may be, no matter your marital status, your economic status, your financial background. You are welcome here, whatever your sexual orientation, your gender identity, your gender expression. You are welcome here. You are welcome here if you consider yourself to be a Christian, if you are part of another faith tradition or another religion, or if you're not a part of a religion at all and are simply curious. You are welcome here. And we welcome all who seek the ideals of justice, peace, and compassion, and especially those that like blanket forts. Mount Seymour United Church and the current location of this blanket fort is on the unceded and ancestral territory of the Tsleil-Waututh people. And they are members of the Coast Salish, and that includes the Squamish and the Musqueam. And they have been stewards of this land and this air and the ocean from time immemorial. And we take the time right now to say thank you for their stewardship of this land and for our presence here where we get to live and work and play. Instead of lighting a candle with a match and flame today, we are going to light this candle, which is electric, because we're in a blanket fort and we need to stay safe. So once there was a person who did such amazing things and told such wonderful stories that people just had to follow him. And once, when they asked him who he was, he said, "I am a light in this world." Just gonna stick it over here. Last week we began with breath, And I read a piece from Job about breath. And that line was, "The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Creator gives me life." And I invited you into spirit breath, the breath of God in our lungs. Our bodies need oxygen, and our souls need the breath of the Creator to help us to heal from the inside out. And so I want to invite you into a time of holy breathing. And last week we talked about sea glass or beach glass. And I've got my piece here and I'm going to hold it in my hand. And as I take my deep spirit breaths, I am going to think about how this piece of glass was once broken and sharp, and through the rolling of the waves, in and out, in and out, it transformed into something beautiful. And as we breathe in and out, and in and out, we can imagine ourselves being transformed by the flow of breath, like this sea glass, into something beautiful. So you might be wondering why we're in a blanket fort today. Well, that's because we're going to talk about sanctuary. And sanctuary is a very big word, and I'm sure you might have heard it used in relationship to a church, a building where there is a sanctuary. And for our building, there is our church building, and inside the building, there's lots of different rooms. And one of those rooms is called the sanctuary. It's where we gather for our worship services. Now, you might not know that sanctuary, the word, doesn't necessarily just mean the place where we gather to sit and sing and pray, and there's pews and the cross and communion table and all of those things. Sanctuary actually means safe place. And a sanctuary is a safe place where you can go. And there's lots of different kinds of sanctuary. You might have heard of the Wild Bird Trust over by the Mudflats, which is a bird sanctuary. And it is a place where birds are safe from hunting, safe from habitat destruction. That area has been created to be a safe place for birds to live and nest. And you might have heard about places in Africa where there's elephant sanctuaries, where elephants are safe to live their lives and not be hurt or hunted by poachers. And there's lots of different types of sanctuary out in the world. And one of the biggest challenges we've had this year is that we haven't been able to gather in our sanctuary. We haven't been able to meet as a community and be together in a place that feels safe and is full of love. We've had to do these videos and share our love and share God's love in a different way. And those who have still been meeting in person in their sanctuaries, they've been trying to create ways of doing it safely, depending on what the safety protocols are in your province or country or your state, if you're in the United States. is different. And some places people have been allowed to gather, but they need to figure out ways to do it safely by wearing masks and using hand sanitizer and no hugging and all those things. In either case, whatever the situation is for people's individual churches, a lot of thought and care has gone into keeping God's people, our people, all people, as safe as possible. And that's a good thing. But it's not quite the same. It's definitely not the same as getting to be together. And so what we need, I think, is to feel safe and feel a sense of sanctuary at home. And that's why I'm inviting you to build a blanket fort, because blanket forts feel really, really safe. And why I asked you to get a blanket, even if you don't build a blanket fort, to have a cozy, warm blanket with you today. This is a blanket that I was given for Christmas this past year by a member of our congregation, and it is so warm and so cozy, and it feels like I'm getting a warm hug every single time I wrap myself in this blanket. And when I've had a bad day or it's been exceptionally cold out, I like to cuddle up with it, put it around me, and feel warm and cozy and loved. So I invite you to do the same right now. Just wrap your blanket around your shoulders or pull it up over your body and feel the cozy, cozy hugs coming to you through this blanket from all of us at Mount Seymour United Church, our whole community of faith, and from God. This is a big hug from God, just like this blanket that's making our fort says, God hugs you. You are encircled by the mystery, the arms of the mystery of God, or something like that. I can never quite remember those words. And during this difficult time, we haven't gotten a lot of hugs. So I feel like imagining a blanket as a big hug is a really good thing. So we're going to play in our blanket fort, and we're going to have some good blanket hugs if you don't have a fort. And when I was thinking about a blanket fort and what I like about them and what I like to do in them is, well, nap. It's always nice. But play and play games or tell stories. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell a story and we're going to play a game. So I have puppets for today's story. Let me just find them. Now, there's a lot of characters in this story, and so I need to figure out how to hold all these characters with my hands. So bear with me as we tell this puppet story, okay? Okay. So this is a puppet story, a story from the Bible about Jesus and a person who was ill with a skin disease. Okay? And back in the time of Jesus, having an illness that affected your skin was considered very scary because people didn't know how or why you would get sick in this way. They didn't know how or why you got sick in any way at all. And so they thought that somebody who had a skin disease or an illness that affected their skin had done something wrong or were wrong in some way. And we know now that that's not true at all, that you don't get sick because you've done something wrong. You get sick because of germs and microbes and viruses and things like that. And we don't think badly about a person who is sick. We just want them to feel better. And ignore the name on the bottom of this puppet, because the character in the story is not named Dorcas, but that's the name of this puppet. That's another character in another part of the Bible, but she's a good puppet. So this is a story from Matthew about Jesus healing, and it's in Matthew chapter 8, verses 1 to 4 and 16 to 17. Okay, so here we go. And this all makes sense in a minute, I promise. Okay, so Jesus had come down from the mountain. See, it's a mountain. Jesus had come down from the mountain, and great crowds had followed him. Look at the crowds. And there was a person with a skin disease who said to Jesus, kneeling before him, "Lord, if you choose, you can make me clean." And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched them, saying, "I do choose. Be made clean." And immediately their skin disease was healed. The crowd goes wild. Then Jesus said to them, "Don't say anything to the others, but go and show yourself to the priest and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them." Later in the day, many more came to Jesus who were ill and were frightened. And Jesus said, "Don't be afraid," and cured those who were sick. And this was to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took their infirmities and bore their diseases. Yay! The end. And so I wonder what it means to be healed in this way. And I wonder what this story tells us about Jesus and about God. And I wonder what this story has to do with feeling safe. For me, when I feel sick, when I have a cold or a headache or, a sunburn, sometimes with thinking about skin, it really helps me to know that somebody cares about me and somebody is willing to help me to feel better. And I like to curl up in my blanket and feel safe when I'm sick, and have somebody maybe bring me some tea. And for the people in the story, asking Jesus to help cure them and help them to feel better was kind of like that. I think it made them feel safe, knowing that Jesus cared about them and wanted them to heal and to be better. That's what I think. What do you think? So as we keep this blanket cozy and warm up against us and are wrapped around our shoulders, we're going to learn a special blanket blessing. And this way you can know that we are in a safe place where we can express our truest selves and experience healing the way that Jesus healed in the story, the way that we're looking at beach glass as being transformative and healing, and how being cozy and warm can help us feel better, which is a type of healing. So this is our blanket blessing. Find a nice cozy spot and we'll say, repeat after me. Loving God, please bless these blankets so that whenever we wear them, we can feel the warmth of your love. We can feel the healing touch of your hands. And we can feel safe to be our truest selves. Amen. So my other favorite thing to do in a blanket fort is to play games. And I have a game that we can play. I'm gonna have to move a little bit. So in the email that came to your families or in the link below is this game called Roll a Monster. And if you don't like monsters, there's some other ones linked for, I think, a face or a landscape. But I thought, when you're in a blanket fort, you're being protected and safe from monsters. So maybe we'd roll a monster. So I guess it's not, it's a game, but it's not like a competition game. It's more just like fun. So you need your roll a monster. You need a dice. You need some plain paper for each person who's going to play, and colored markers. So, we're going to start by making a monster shape. Well, a circle or an oval or some sort of monster shape. Like this. And then we're going to roll the dice. And we're going to see what we're going to add to the monster. Okay? I'm going to roll my dice. And I got a 4. And 4 says to add a horn. So I'm going to add my horn. There, now it's a potato monster with a horn. I'm going to roll my dice again. It's a really easy game. And I got a 2. Oh, 2 says to add a mouth. I'm going to add a mouth. Like this. There, that's what we're doing. I'm going to roll my dice again. 1. Ooh, add an eye. 1 eye. Let's see what we got here. There's my eye. 6. Ooh, an arm. It's time to add an arm to my monster. Okay. I'm going to give it a bit of a neck and some shoulders and an arm. It doesn't say to add a hand, but I feel like an arm without a hand. Maybe just, I don't know. And I want to add claws. So here's my arm. We're gonna roll again. Ooh, and I got another one. So it's gonna be add another eye. Three. Ooh, add spiky hair. Let's add green spiky hair. Let's see, a couple more rolls. 3 more spiky hair. Okay, add blue spiky hair this time. And 5. Oh, he gets a leg. Only one leg, which is problematic. So this is what my monster is looking like so far. We'll do a couple more dice rolls, then I think we'll be done. 6. I get to add another arm. Let's make this one a different color. And another roll. 4. Another horn. And one more, and we'll be done. 5. Excellent. We'll have another leg, so it won't be so tippy. But this time I'm just not giving it a shoe. I'm giving it a toes. So there's my rolling monster, which doesn't look very scary at all. Well, so for today's end of video activity, we rolled a monster in our blanket fort. I invite you to build more of a blanket fort today if you want, and play some more games in your blanket fort and feel safe. We're gonna close our time. We're gonna repeat our prayer, our blanket blessing prayer one last time, so we can get a little more practice. You can go around your house and you can bless everyone's blankets and all the blankets so that you can feel safe wherever you are with a blanket. So repeat after me. Loving God, please bless these blankets. So that whenever we wear them, we can feel the warmth of your love. We can feel the healing touch of your hands. And we can feel safe to be our truest selves. Amen. Thank you so much for being here with me this week in the blanket fort. It's pretty cozy in here. We might just do a few more videos from inside a blanket fort. We'll just have to see. Thank you so much. See you next week for our next video. Bye. you.